In Chinese gay slang, 1 means top and 0 means bottom, so since literally everything in the world can be broken down into ones and zeros, literally nothing isn't gay. Happy Pride Month! Welcome to the month where the world decides that we really need this.
Taste the rainbow, motherfucker!
Maybe that closet wasn't so bad after all, huh? So I was curious about what being gay might have looked like, a couple thousand years ago, in a time where Target didn't exist, to create merch that could haunt me until my puke turned a rainbow color. And I came across some interesting imagery, like this one. Now, I had to hide what's going on under that rainbow flag, but you could probably use your imagination. I wonder what they used for loot. Like, did they just do it Brokeback Mountain style? Oh, this could be like a whole new category on those pornographic websites. Like, we already have a vintage category, so now introducing, historical. It's a great idea. I'm patenting it. This is my next startup. I wonder if that's like a legitimate kink for some people. Like, I'm sure there's like an archaeologist somewhere digging through Cleopatra's tomb like, oh, Mark Antony was here. Or people who like make a collage of the statue of David saving up money to visit Italy like, my love, I will finally be able to touch you one day. One day. Aww. I'm just kidding. So I believe the guy depicted in the picture is a historical gay figure named Mizixia. And if you Google his name, you'll find several alternative pictures depicting them going at it in different positions. Not that I'm advocating you do this search, but I'm also not advocating for you not to do the search. But anyway, I just wanted to say that the story of Mizixia should serve as a warning to all of you who are currently sugar babies or are contemplating to become sugar babies. He was the male lover of a duke, but sort of failed to secure the bag. So the story goes that Mizixia's mother gets really sick, and he uses the duke's carriage to visit his mother without the duke's permission. But because Mizixia is like super hot or something, the duke forgives him and actually praises him for his loyalty to his mom. And at another point, Mizixia was eating a peach, and he's like, oh my god, this peach is delicious, and gives half of it to the duke, who, because Mizixia is super hot or whatever, decides that it's the cutest move ever, which is where the term fentao comes from, which means bitten peach in Chinese. And in Chinese, it's another word for homosexuality. It comes from this story. Unfortunately for our boy Mizixia, he inevitably reaches a point all sugar babies will reach: old age. The duke then decides that actually Mizixia isn't that cute after all. He accuses him of stealing his carriage and claims he insulted him by giving him a half-eaten peach. Don't know what happens to Mizixia after that. Probably dies like poor and alone or something. At any rate, the moral of the story is that you can do whatever you want as long as you're hot. No, I'm just kidding. The moral is to not rely on your looks to get what you want. So just like how in English you have the term friend of Dorothy, which is another way to refer to being gay, in Chinese there are multiple euphemisms too, also based on cultural stories. And the most famous of them is probably 断袖, which in Chinese translates to cut sleeves and is based on a really famous story called The Passion of the Cut Sleeves. To talk about this story, we have to fast forward a little bit to the Han Dynasty under the reign of an emperor named Emperor Ai, which, by the way, is such a cute name. Ai in Chinese means love. Granted, the emperor's name was probably a different character than the character for love. It's a whole Chinese language thing that we won't get into. But anyway, love wins, or I don't know, whatever Target decided the new Pride slogan was, or whatever. The protagonist of this story, Dongxian, becomes one of Emperor Ai's lovers at the age of 19, while both were still married to women. And unlike our friend Mizixia, Dongxian actually manages to secure the bag. Emperor Ai shows his love for Dongxian by building him the most lavish residences, buying him expensive jewelry, getting him the best weapons from the armory. He even orders for Dongxian's tomb to be built next to his, so they could die and live forever in the afterlife or something like that. And Dongxian wasn't just getting the ancient Chinese equivalent of Chanel bags and Gucci tennis shoes. Emperor Ai also begins to give all sorts of promotions to Dongxian. And Dongxian quickly rises the ranks at a rate that really kind of unnerved everyone else in the royal palace. Anyone who dared to object or voice a complaint about this was severely punished. And eventually, Dongxian is made like commander of the emperor's army or military or something. And I know you mask for mask gays are really feeling seen right now, aren't you?
Sis, I'm about to start dropping bombs on ISIS. Wig about to be snatched. And that's the tea. This tea is boiling over, sis. Ariana stands in the army.
Now, the famous story goes, Emperor Ai and Dongxian fall asleep together on a straw mat, and when the emperor woke up, Dongxian's head was on the emperor's sleeve. But rather than wake him up, the emperor cuts off his sleeve and leaves it under Dongxian's head. It's probably safe to assume like the emperor's robe was like some kind of custom Louis or something. Like, would you cut up your custom LV to avoid waking up your boyfriend? Yeah, I thought so. If my man fell asleep on my custom LV bathrobe, I'd be pushing him right off. Like, that bathrobe is getting nobody's sweat but mine. Unfortunately, just like everything else in ancient history, the story doesn't really end in such a romantic way. They don't live happily ever after in a castle far, far away like in the Disney movies. Emperor Ai eventually dies, and the next ruler accuses Dongxian of failing to attend to the emperor while he was dying, strips him of all his titles, and Dongxian and his wife commit suicide shortly after. They even dig up his corpse and rebury it in a prison, so no forever after in the afterlife for our two lovers either. Moral of this story, if your sugar daddy dies, it's not always a happy ending. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. I post like twice a month, usually about my experiences being gay and Asian. Let me know in the comments what you think, and have a good weekend and have a great rest of your Pride Month. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.